Hello, crocheters. So, per your request, I'm going to do a demonstration of the granny square and upload this to YouTube for you. I think I'm going to change colors in the middle of this. We're not changing colors this week. We will do that next week, but just to make it more obvious of where the changes are, and so you can see the rounds a little bit easier, I'm going to change colors in between each round. So to start, by the pattern, it says to start, chain 5 and join with a slip stitch. So I'm going to make my slip knot and chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now to join with a slip stitch, we go back into the first, right here, the first chain we made. So you've got a little U on your hook. Then we yarn over and we pull this piece of yarn through both, and now we've got a little donut. Now everything that we do in round 1 will go into the middle of the donut. So round 1 on the pattern says to chain 3, and this counts as your first double crochet. So 1, 2, 3. And the reason you do this chain 3 is because you're trying to get the height of the double crochet. If you went in just with double crochets, it would kind of angle it. So your stitches would kind of go this way instead of up and down. So from here, now we do 2 double crochets. So the double crochet again is yarn over your hook, go into the donut, grab a piece of yarn and pull it through the donut. Now yarn over again, pull that piece that you yarned over through the first 2 loops on your hook, then yarn over again and pull through the second 2 loops on your hook. So it asks us to do 2, so we're going to do 1 more. Yarn over into the donut, yarn over and pull up a loop, so there's 3 on your hook, yarn over, pull through the first 2 on your hook, yarn over and pull through the second 2 on your hook. Now the next step is to chain 2. So we just do 1 chain, 2 chains. Next we're going to do 3 double crochets back into this loop. Now when you go through the loop, you might have to smush your little clusters together, because what we've essentially done is made a little cluster of 3 right here. And you can see the posts. This tall part of your stitch is the post. So those are 3, then we've got the 2. Now we're going to do 3 more double crochets. So we go over into the circle, pull up a loop, yarn over through the first 2, yarn over through the second 2, yarn over into the circle, pull up a loop. I know I'm getting faster here. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So the third one, yarn over, go into the circle, pull up a loop, yarn over again, 3 on your loop, or excuse me, before you yarn over, there's 3 on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2 more. So now we've got 2 little clusters of 3. So what we have actually done is we've made the first corner. If I hold it up like this, you can probably see it a little bit better. So these 3, the 2 chains make a corner, these 3. Can you see that? So now we're going to chain 2 again, 1, 2, and I'm going to do 3 more double crochets. It is also okay to go over your tail. In fact, it's kind of preferred to go over your tail. So you just kind of hold it against this original chain that we created. And that way you're sort of weaving it in without even having to try. So there's our third cluster of 3. And now you can actually see the 2 corners at the bottom. You see it okay? Then we're going to chain 2 again. The chain 2 is making your corner. And now we're going to do the 4th cluster of 3. Okay. Now we've got 3 corners that you can see. 1, 2, 3. Now we need to make the 4th corner, so we do 2 more chains. And now it says to join with a slip stitch to the 3rd chain in our starting chain. So this chain of 3 is where we started. Normally they want you to go in here into this very first stitch. I personally don't, because I like to go underneath the first actual full chain. If I try to do it here, it's going to go into a space and it's going to leave a big gap. And I don't like that in my granny squares. So we're going to go under here. Let's see if I can pull that closer. And then we're going to pull through the yarn. And we're going to pull it through the loop on our hook. And that way we have closed the first round. Now, to start the second round, we have to slip stitch over to this corner. So I'm going to slip stitch here. And then I would slip stitch here, but I'm actually going to grab a different color yarn real quick. Hopefully I can find the end of it. And like I said, we didn't do this in class, and I don't expect you all to. I'm just going to try to do this to make it a little more visible where the changes are. So if I were to slip stitch into this one, that's where we need to be eventually, is to slip stitch into this corner. Now, the pattern does say to chain 3 again to make the post, but honestly, when I get to this point, I don't always do that. I usually will just go on in. Let me get this color out of the way real quick. I'll just go on in with my 3 double crochets. So every time you make a corner and you're in a corner, you're doing 3 double crochets, 2 chains, and 3 more double crochets. And that repeats throughout the pattern. So anytime you're in a corner, you're going to do 3, 2, 3. 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. So that's what we're going to do on this row. So 1, whoops, here I go. See, I'm screwing up already too. We're going to go in with 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. We're going to chain 2. And then we're going to do 3 more double crochets. And again, you might have to smush your cluster over to make some room. Okay, so I just made a corner in a corner. And from this point, now we're going over to this corner. So to do that, and yes, my cat just jumped on here. Sorry about that, guys. We just start in again with our double crochets and our chain and our double crochets. We don't put any space. We don't chain in between to jump over here. A lot of patterns will tell you that, but I don't do it because when you chain, you end up with a bigger gap in the space, and then you have holes in your granny square. And if you're going to make a granny square blanket, you don't want holes in it. You want it to be warm and cozy. So we're going to go ahead and go in with our next 3 double crochets. Hopefully you can see this dark purple yarn okay. Then we're going to chain 2 again and do 3 more double crochets. And he just keeps coming back. Y'all, this is every day at work for me. If I'm on a call or talking and he hears me, he has to come and be right in the middle of it. His name is Oliver, and he does not respect personal boundaries at all, especially when I'm working with yarn and don't need white cat hair everywhere. So now you can see I've got, this was the previous round, the first round. Now I've made a corner in each corner. Can you see that? So let's keep going and do the other 2 corners with unnecessary cat hair on it. Sorry about that. Hopefully you all can forgive the intrusion there. And he's back again. It doesn't matter how many times I throw him off my desk. He will just keep coming back. He's like a boomerang. Stay over there. 1, 2, 3, chain 2, and 1, 2, whoops, I just accidentally pulled it out when I was trying to get more yarn. 1, 2, 3. Now we're ready to work into the 4th corner. So we're just going to start in with our 3 double crochets. That's 1, this is 2, and 3, chain 2, and 3 more. I think I'm fumbly because I'm trying to film a video, so you'll excuse all my fumbleness here. Okay, so this is the 3rd one. Now, hopefully you can see this was our first round. This darker purple is now our 2nd round. We don't need to chain or do anything else. We just need to join with our slip stitch. So again, I know it's hard to see with this darker yarn. We're going into the top of this double crochet. Can you see that one? Yarn over, bring it underneath, and then just bring it through the loop we had on the hook. And all this does, this doesn't create any height or anything like that. It pretty much just takes the place of the chain that we have on the top of each previous post. So you don't have to worry that anytime you slip stitch, you don't have to worry that you're adding bulk to the square or the stitch at all. So now, since I'm going over to this next one, I'm going to switch colors again. I think the cat just laid down on my scissors. I had to grab another pair. Okay. So we slip stitch again over to the next corner to start round 3. So round 3 is going to be just a little bit different. But round 3 is going to be the most like every round you continue after that. And the reason is we've got our 4 corners, but when we made that last round, we also created a space in the middle, in between each of the 4 corners. So basically where these were, there's now a space above it. So let me get the corner done and I'll show you what I mean. What you're basically doing is increasing the size every time you do this. And I believe I gave everybody plenty of stitch markers, but what I would recommend until you get really used to it is to put a stitch marker in all 4 corners every time you get a new round done. because you want to remember to do your 3, 2, 3 in every corner. Otherwise, you're not going to have that nice corner shape. And if you forget, and I do forget, there are times that I have gotten to the end of a round and gone, why does that not look right? Or it's not laying flat. And it's because I wasn't paying attention. I was going too fast and I got to the corner and I only put 3 double crochets in it and then moved to the next one. Well, that's going to make a mess. You don't want to do that. So you'll end up having to frog back and fix the corner. So, all right. So there's our first corner made. Now, instead of going over here to the next corner, we need to fill this space in. If I were to go over here, do you see how my square is folding in? You can't do that. You have to have something in this space to take up space. And also by doing this, we're creating new spaces for round 4 when we get to that. So what we do in each of these side spaces, not corner spaces, but side spaces, is put 3 double crochets. So I have 3 in here. Again, I did not chain or do anything in between because we don't want to create too much space. We just want to have enough room so that when we do the next round, we go into that space. So I'll show you again once I get a little further here. But we're going to, in another corner, so we're going to do 3 double crochets. And then the chain 2, so I'll put 2 there, 3 more double crochets. Okay, so let me show you real quick. The first corner, then the center, I made 3, you can count the 3 posts, then the next corner. So now when I get to round 4 and I get these corners done, as you can see, I have space here. And basically you're going on top of one row away once you get up there. So like when I did these 3, they duplicate these 3. So that'll kind of help you hopefully keep track of where you need to be. If you just pay attention, so when you get to the next round, and I'll try to point that out, you want to sort of mirror what you've done if you skipped a row. So let me go back over here and finish this one. So again, I've got a space in the middle here. So I'm going to put 3 double crochets. Now we're doing a corner again. So I'm going to go in and do the 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets. There's my 2, and there's my 3 more. Okay, so now I've got 3 corners done. And I need to go into this side space. So we're going to do just 3 double crochets. Again, no chaining or anything in between, just go in with 3 double crochets. Okay, and now I'm on to my 4th corner. So 3 double crochets again. You're probably going to get sick of me saying 3 double crochets, 2 chains, 3 double crochets. But this is our 4th corner on this side. Okay, so now you can see I still have a gap here. I need to do one more set of 3 to fill in that side. Okay, and now I need to connect so that I can close off this round. So I'm going to, again, slip stitch, I usually just try to find the first one that I can see both chains. So right here is where I'm looking. And I go underneath both, yarn over, pull through, and then pull through the loop that I had on the hook so it's secure. I'm going to do that again until I can get worked over into this corner. I'm actually going to, normally I would go ahead, if I were doing a solid color, I would just go ahead and pull that through here. Since I'm changing colors, I'm not going to pull that through the corner just yet. Okay, let me grab the darker purple again. Here's you a close-up look at Oliver, looking very not contrite about being up here. He was actually my daughter's cat, and she and her then boyfriend were going on vacation a few years ago and asked me if I would keep him because he and one of her other cats didn't get along very well, especially if no one was in the house to keep them from fighting. So she asked me to keep him for a week, and that's been about 6 years. So I guess at this point I can't call him my daughter's cat anymore. I think officially he's mine, especially since I'm paying for all of his vetting and his food and all the things. So, all right, so I've changed colors and I am in the corner again. So I'm going to do a corner. And if I had my stitch markers out, I would be putting my stitch markers in my corners. So there's 1, 2, 3. See, look at this bum. He feels no remorse. He just doesn't mind at all that he's all up in my way. So enjoy the cat. Anyway, back to our square. Okay, so there's the 3. I'm doing a chain 2. And I'm going to put 3 more to finish the corner. I like these because they're easy to count how many you've done, because you don't really have to go into the top and count the chains. You can actually see better, I think, if you count the posts. So there's 1, 2, 3. Here's our chain 2. We know because we've got a gap. And then 1, 2, 3. So now, like I mentioned, we created more spaces when we did the previous row. So we've got a space here and a space here. And both of those are going to mirror what is down here. So I think changing the colors helps show that. And again, I'm so sorry there's cat hair on here. At least if you're allergic, it's not going to affect you through video. But so what I want to do is fill these spaces to make them look just like these. So we do 3 double crochets in each space. With no chains or anything in between. So that's 1 space completed with 3. This is the second one. Okay, so now you can see I've got my corner, my cat hair corner. I've got a space with 3, a space with 3, and I'm ready to do the second corner. So we're going to do the 3, 2, 3 again. Chain 2, 3 more. 1, oops, 2, and 3. Okay, so we've got another corner made. Just this way. Okay, so now on this side, we've got our 2 spaces that need to be filled with 3 double crochets. So there's 1 space. 2 spaces. Okay, and now I'm in my next corner. So we're going to do 3, 2, 3 again. So there's my first cluster of 3, chain 2, and 3 more. Okay, next side, 3 in each of these side spaces. And the whole purpose of having you all do this granny square is mainly to get you comfortable with doing the double crochet. So there's 1, 2, and 3. Okay, that's the second space done. And we're back in the last corner. And 1, 2, 3, chain 2, and 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so that's our last corner. I could actually show you a little better if I didn't have a cat in the way. It's the last corner, but we still need to fill in these 2 spaces on this side. So we're going to put 3 in each of those. 1, 2, 3, and 1. Well, I dropped that one. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch to finish the round. I'm going to go into this chain portion right here, pull through, and pull through my loop. I'm going to do that again. And to show you how to end this, what you do is you take your scissors and you cut your yarn, you give yourself a couple of inches. Then all you have to do to secure it is pull through. That way, if you pull this, you're not frogging. It's not pulling any of your stitches loose. So that's how you finish it. Apologies that there's a cat in the way here, but I think you can probably sort of see first round, second round, third round, and fourth round. And on that last one, you basically get an extra space with each round you do. So if we were to keep going, we would have our 4 corners to do the 3, 2, 3 in, and then we'd have 3 spaces to put clusters of 3. And just remember, look 1 down. So once you're up here on this next round, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, which would be the 5th, you would be doing the same as 1 row away, if that makes sense. So that would match that. And that's it. What you want to do is make squares that are roughly 6 to 7 inches. Decide on what size you prefer. If you like a 6-inch, that's fine. If you prefer a 7-inch, that's fine. But you'll want to stop at the row right below whatever size you want to go to, because like we mentioned, and if you weren't in class, I'll explain this to you, but like I mentioned, if you were to block these, you would have to stretch them out a little bit. So you don't want to do something that is right at 6 inches, or you're not going to be able to block them. So in order to block them out and stretch them out and make them nice and concise and clean, you need to stop a little bit early so that you'll have a little bit of room to stretch out. So I hope this is helpful. Um, Next week's project's probably going to be a lot more double crochet as well. And I'll talk to you in class and see if you all found this helpful. And if you did, I can try to do videos for each one if you find it helpful. I know it's hard for me to go around to everyone in class and give you as much attention as I feel like you need. So I will do my best to accommodate whatever helps you. Feel free to rewind this and watch me do stitches over and over, or if you're just enjoying the view of this guy. Um, he's decided to take up everything right now. There he is. But yeah, and feel free again, call me, text me, whatever you need to do. I may start doing just weekly sit and stitch for anybody who wants to join me. This Sunday, we're going to Starbucks to catch up some of the people who are on spring break. And if you would like to do that, we'll be at the Starbucks on 460 near the Blue Hills Industrial Park. Forgot what it was called. And I'll be there probably between 1:15 and 1:30. So again, my primary focus when I'm there will be to help the people who missed this week and help them get caught up. But if you need some one-on-one help, I'll be there as long as you need me to. And I'm happy to work one-on-one with anyone. So I'll see you all there. Oliver says that's enough. He's going to sleep. So I'll see you either Sunday or next week in class. Bye.